As you were narrating, this has been like I was watching a movie.
Whatever we do, it starts not from the customer. It first starts from the vendor.
Did you start a new restaurant?
We had opened an outlet 3 days before our Prime Minister announced the lockdown. And we were already in debt. Pillar to pillar running to each bank. Bhai, kuch to de de. At least moratorium de de. So we were on an average doing a 22 crore turnover monthly, which came down to. Now this is why I say we are in the people business and not food business. I would say Gen Zs are the most balanced generation we can find going forward. I'll tell you why.
That's a big one. What do you tell restaurant owner who's bleeding?
Smallest thing make the biggest difference.
What are you doing for your dreams?
Always dreamt of buying a sports car, and I did last year.
Which one?
It was a.
Nice. क्या बदला है in you as a person which you recognize कि यार ये ऐसे था और अभी ऐसे हो गया. अच्छा बुरा doesn't matter.
Today when I walk into my restaurant, the table setup में अगर वो spoon टेढ़ा है, भाई मेरे को गुस्सा आता है भाई.
Restaurant industry is such insane industry कि कोई अपनी इच्छा से तो इसमें नहीं आ सकता. Shakir, I wanna dive into all the empire stories and great stuff that you're doing, but I want to start from the start. I also have a thesis. Restaurant industry is such insane industry कि कोई अपनी इच्छा से तो इसमें नहीं आ सकता है. You have to be a little crack. You have to be a little insane.
Yeah.
You have to really love this insanity.
True.
To be there. Or most of the people just fall into it accidentally and then discovered that they love, this insanity. I know you were born in it, but I want to know your story. What were the early days like, and take us back as long as you want to take us back.
Absolutely. I think it's a very interesting thing. For me, I've always been inspired with what my dad always used to do. So, I remember as I was about 9 or 10, I used to hop on to in his car on a Saturday and a Sunday. He leaves home at 11 a.m. So I go into the restaurant. That time it was just one restaurant. And, as the car stops, the whole vibe of the restaurant changes. It's like Tiger has come. They used to call him Tiger.
Oh, wow.
Because when it comes to perfection, my dad was the best. Protocols, process, quality control. Since I'm talking about 30 years ago, right? And that really inspired me. And I used to look up to him for the fact that not because he was my father, the fact that he managed a business so beautifully. And end of the day, in the night, again, when I used to go with him, he used to stand on that staircase, jo entrance hai. And, he would just stand there, enjoy the view, enjoy the weather, probably have his night cigarette. Right? And there are a lot of these people, customers, or people who are walking by. They'll come and say, Haq sahab, kaise ho? How are you? And everybody greeted him with a great smile on their faces. And for me, my dad was always a Hitler. He was an angry man. And we used to be looking at his face like, abhi ek ball kharidna hai to
आज mood के
हिसाब से आज ball मिलेगा नहीं. But then the moment he reached the restaurant, the smallest thing would make him the most angry. Now, when I say the smallest thing, we used to be serving a complimentary gravy. Right? We still do. And if that complimentary gravy was ever served cold,
you lose it.
उस दिन tsunami आ जाएगा. So he gave attention to the smallest and the minutest of details. And another thing that inspired me was how he dealt with his people. He gave more respect to the cleaning guy, to the security guy, to the cooks, to the waiters. Said, for me as an owner, those people who are on the floor are dear to me. And he taught me one lesson there. And he said, we are in the people business, not in the food business. I asked him, why do you say that? He said, anything and everything that we do is with two people. Right? You serve your customer a good plate of food, he smiles. Probably he comes back. That says you have built a brand. At the same time, you don't serve him a good plate of food. How are you going to ensure that he comes back? What is the way of hospitality that will ensure that he'll come back to you? Every chef, every manager has a bad day. That day was probably not good. He said, whatever we do, it starts not from the customer. It first starts from the vendor. because you need to procure something into your kitchen for you to even start cooking. So you cook, then you sell. So whatever we do, it involves people. And nothing can ever replace that in our business. This he said probably 25 years ago. That stuck with me always. And as a child, I think I was second born and always reckless, careless. I never took anything serious in life. But somewhere I knew this is what I'm going to be doing. And I want to get into the business. The restaurant business. Because I always knew I'm going to get here. I knew I would get there. What I would do, I had no idea. So it was 2009 when I started my journey, right after college. So Dad put me in one of our outlets. The first day of opening our Fraser Town outlet, it was July 3rd, a Friday. And it didn't start well. Because the outlet opening was at 3 p.m. I didn't know I was supposed to reset at 12 noon. He didn't tell me. He said, he didn't tell me. He's like, today's opening. Why aren't you here? Actually, opening at 3 o'clock. He asked me, are you the guest of honor? Or are you going to be the manager of the restaurant? I said, obviously the manager. So the manager walks in first, ensures everything is in place. Then you receive the guest of honor. So that was my first start. And that day itself, I remember, it was a Friday. It was a busy day. And that evening, so we were in a neighborhood, right? So the neighbors came in, fuming. Like, oh, these buggers have come. Now our peace of mind is gone. So that neighbor comes in, storms into the restaurant. He slaps my security guard. And that I was taken aback. I was like, how can you do this? I was a kid. I was just 22 at that time. And he was like, no, your customers are outside my house. They're creating a ruckus. I have been living for the last 30 years. I was like, okay, we'll figure this out. So that was my first actual, situation where I dealt with the people part. Until then, the whole day, customers were coming in, we were serving, sab kuch theek hai. I was not worried into the quality aspect and things like that. I was just ensuring I'm looking at everything. I told my dad the next day, this has happened. He's like, good. It's a great learning for you on the first day. So that is how I started from 2009. So I worked over a year. In this 1 year, I think I've been to the station multiple times. I was manhandled by many customers at that time. There were issues wherein the drainage got blocked. My dad said, dude, boss, we were born with a silver spoon. How can I do something dirty like that? But all those teachings, gave me that sense of, understanding that this is not an easy thing to do. And if you have to get away or, reach a different level, there is a lot that you have to learn it. So for me, Dad...
But Shakir, were you thinking about, while you were going through this, like especially the first year, 22-year-old, born with a silver spoon, has always, felt entitled to be a restaurant owner in some way, right?
Yes.
That ye to hai, ye to hoga hi.
Bilkul.
Were you, hindsight is great. What was going on in your head when you were going through it? Didn't you want to quit? Didn't you want to say, okay, nahi, ye nahi ho paega. I don't want to leave.
I did. And naturally, being young, it did happen. It's like, why should I be doing all of this? Let's get done with this. I had enough. Let's go do something else. But then, your thoughts keep coming back to you. And, I did have a few good friends by my side who said, boss, what are you doing? Why are you whining about this? It is you who has to take the mantle going forward, right? Your brother is busy with something else. He's an automotive designer. Who else is going to be there? The others are very young. So you have to take it up. And Dad used to always constantly tell me, like, education is important. But what is important is your skill, your ability to understand people, to your ability to solve problems. So you need to be street smart than being book smart. Being book smart is good, but you need to be street smart. For that, you'll probably get hit. You will be dejected. Customers might abuse you. But how are you going to overcome all of that? So I think he was always been a silent teacher for me. And I did not get to spend a lot of time with him because I think 2009 I started. 2012 he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And then after that he slowed down completely. And at that time I was in Dubai. So we had a restaurant there and I was managing the restaurant in Dubai since 2011. So 2 years I spent in Bangalore. Dad said, you go. Because again, a lot of politics happening within. So they were capable managers and they felt threatened somewhere. So he thought, okay, ठीक है, let him go and have some international exposure. NRI status लेने दो. So वो था ना back then. NRI status मिलने से लड़की अच्छा मिल जाएगा, शादी हो जाएगी बंदे की. But that was not what Dad had in mind. What Dad wanted me to do was to go and live by myself, take decisions by myself, fail in those decisions, get abused by him only, get questioned by him. And that in Dubai is where I felt most dejected. I felt lonely. It's like, what am I doing here? Why should I be doing this? I can always go back home.
So did you start a new restaurant there, or was it
No,
Empire?
we had an ongoing restaurant wherein I think for Dad and Uncle, it was always a hobby kind of a thing to go and start a restaurant in Dubai. And that time we did not have the means to, officially go start a restaurant. So we had a contract management with a local sponsor. So the name was ours. We were managing it for them. Investment was theirs. So we added one more in Karama.
Yeah, those days you also needed a...
Exactly. So then we added one more restaurant in Karama. And post his, diagnosis of cancer, I got back to Bangalore. And I didn't want to stay there. It was not giving me any kind of happiness. Growth wasn't there. The Dubai market was slowly, completely deteriorating and diminishing. And I didn't want to stay there. As I told Dad, I want to come back and I'm done living here. I would rather come and look after you. So when I went back in 2014, I think I spent about a year with him again, wherein mostly at home. I did a lot of those learnings from him because in that 5 years, what I have witnessed and what I have understood, I wanted to take it back to him and, get the right kind of advice as to how should I go forward. And one thing that always a question in my mind was, one, will I be able to do this? Second, will I get to do this? Like I said, we had capable managers, we had capable people doing everything. And there was no room for us to penetrate and get inside. So by then, Dad had taken a back seat. His brothers were there actively involved. So my younger uncle, Mr. Aziz, again, who's been the closest to me after his passing also. I think I consider him to be a father to me. He was always there as support to my father, shadowing his presence, doing things what his brother had taught him. So he was there. He supported. He was the one who gave me the absolute mandate in the year 2016. After Dad passed, and our ex-GM, Mr. Junaiz, was there. He was the man in control, running the show. Outlets were growing, systems were being brought in, growth was there. I think by 2016, we were about 25 outlets, 2,600 employees. So he did bring all of that. So systems, tech, integrations, all that happened, procurement, all that happened. But even then, there was a huge vacuum in my heart and my mind. Like something is still not right because I didn't feel I was capable enough. Right? And would I be able to take this forward? So after Dad's passing, it was confirmed that I am the next in line and I have to take this forward. So that was when, things actually started hitting me. It's like, oh, it's getting serious. And,
What year was that?
2016, I think about 7 years after I really joined. And I did not learn much. I was at a managerial level, taking some decisions which were great or some were really bad, some were really worse. So I learned it the hard way. Like I said, from scraping the floor to cleaning the table, to waiting a table, picking up parcels, getting into the police jeep, going into the station, putting your hand in the bloody drainage. So I went through all of that grind. So they say, a creator always can build from scratch. So that gave me the confidence. And came 2018, I had to push my way through in a way that, I did not know the people did not know me. So will I ever be accepted as their leader? That was always a question. But came 2018, our man said, I wish to move forward in my life and do my own venture. So he put in his papers. He said, I will help you with the transition. In the year 2018, I was rather just doing the work of a watchman. I could not even speak because I didn't know what to speak. I didn't know what to speculate. I didn't know what to project. I didn't know what the systems were. So in those 2 years, that silent watchman job told the people, I was like, okay, this guy is planning something for sure, but we need to know what is on his mind. Came COVID, crashing down in 2020 March, and we had opened an outlet 3 days before our Prime Minister announced the lockdown. And we were already in debt. We were running a debt of close to about 25-30 crores. And we were still continuing to open outlets. So that aggressive mindset was still there. And like, kuch bhi ho jane do, we open outlets. Eventually, it'll all fall in line.
Yeah, scale will take care of it. And
Exactly, but never
the
happened.
classic.
Nothing happened. So came COVID. Literally, restaurant shut down. 2,500 people sitting without a salary, without food. Kya karna hai? Bank account is negative. So how do we go forward? So is this the end of Empire? That was the question. But they say, good deeds always pay off. Not my good deeds, sir. Probably my grandfather, my father and his brothers did a lot of good deed where the people came back to us and said, sir, what can we do? There has to be something that we can bounce back. I think the first time that we opened the Zoom call thing and we started talking amongst ourselves on a Zoom call, because I was sitting at home. That was the first time in our lives we spent more time at home than outside. And we don't know sitting at home means.
Correct.
Like, because we used to be working late into the nights, we were always out. So came those nights of struggle, sulking about what to do, how to do. But we were always looking for answers, and there were no answers because we were not asking the right questions. So then came Zoom calls with my team. I think we were closely talking, understanding what we could do. One thing the team gave me was their assurance. They said, sir, whatever said and done, we are here for you. We are here for your father. We are here for your uncle. They have done so much for us. We want to give back in every way possible. What can we do? I said, we need to start with raising some money. Banks were not allowing. Banks said, no, we can't give you any money. If we don't have any history of raising private finances, we didn't know that route.
Yeah.
Eventually, I went back to my mother. I said, you and your sister have inherited your father's property. And the government has taken, the government took over their large estate land for the airport purpose in Kerala. So they were sitting with some cash. So I asked mom, I can't go and put my hand outside. Koi dega nahi. Kyun? Beizati hogi. So it'll be like I'm completely disrespecting what my father did. And if I am my father's son, I think I should be able to pull this off, provided you help me with a loan. And she was surprised. She was baffled. She had tears in her eyes. She's like, is this the situation what my husband left you with? I was like, no, it is not your husband's fault. It is the fault of the system. He wasn't healthy enough to clear it. And he had these things like, no, there are a lot of those things that I want to do before I leave. But he couldn't. So I told her, I said, probably I am destined to bring the change. Probably I am the source of change for this business and the family. Lend me whatever you have. She asked me, how much do you want? I said, can you give me 10 crores? She said, I don't think we have that much, but I can pull in 6 crores for you. I said, when can you give me the money? I said, 2 of my sisters are sitting in Saudi Arabia. How will the money come? I was like, yes, that's a great question. I said, give me some time. Let me talk to my sisters. I think exactly 2 hours later, she calls me. She's like, everyone's agreed to it. And what can you do here? She asked me. I said, I will promise you a return. And a return that I can afford. That time industry, I think market was giving you returns of close to about 1% in whatever investment you make. I said, I'll give you a 0.5% return. And what is the guarantee? I said, collateral guarantee, kuch nahi. I can give you a share in one of our properties, but I cannot register an agreement. We can only do an MOU. I said, I'm a man of my word. If I promise you this, I will give it to you. She said, okay, what about the rest of the people? I said, nobody has a choice now, Yama. You give me the money, if I put the money on the table, everybody's going to come along. And sitting in Saudi Arabia, each of them had to transfer me 2 crores. And the money sitting in the Indian bank, they are living there. Kya kare? Thankfully, some network, some contact got me through the Axis Bank Vice President, Southern India. And I gave him a call directly and I said, sir, I'm in such a situation. I have 2 of my aunts who want to transfer this money to me, but they're sitting in Saudi Arabia. Is there any way that you can accept a transfer? He was like, sir, just allow me 10 minutes and I will come back to you. He called me in 10 minutes and said, nothing to worry. Just ask them to send us a formal email giving their consent to this, and we will give them an approval. That will be taken as evidence even in court. You don't need to worry. The moment we get that, we don't even need a signature of them on their checks. No, we will give them a link. They can do the transfer through that link. It's like, wow. 2 weeks, Ashish, I got the money. First thing we did was pay off my landlords. Because in that, we were dealing with close to about 67 landlords, including our outlets and our staff rooms and all of that. Thankfully, 7 of them came forward and said, sir, 2 mahine ke liye aap rent mat do. We will waive it off for you. You've been the best of tenants. We don't worry. Don't worry. We are there for full support. आपको restaurant चलाना है, नहीं करना है, कुछ भी करो. 2 महीने के लिए rent मत देना. One landlord in that said 6 months के लिए आप rent मत दो. And that landlord had siblings also who were sharing the rent. They did not allow him. He said, I am the older one. I will decide what has to be done.
Wow.
So, and vendors. So, landlords, vendors and staff. This was my priority. And I only had 5 crores. My payables were more than 9 crores. Staff ko bulaya. I called all the managers on a Zoom call. I told them, sir, this is the problem. I will pay back. But kab dunga pata nahi. Sir, upar wale ka ye. Dunga ek din, man kab dunga pata nahi. Year 2020. So it came in June. The 50-50 protocol was in place. So we opened 7 restaurants. And that time I remember we were working with, again, a Chennai-based company, not Bitpos, the other one. We came up with a digital contactless dining program. And we involved one influencer by name Danish Seth.
Of course.
We did a video. That really created a lot of effect. The impact was large. People literally came to the counter outside, made their reservation. We gave them the table. We told them, boss, food will come in a tray. Nobody's going to touch anything. You'll have to pick up your own plates. You'll have to pick up everything. We'll send the tray to your table. You'll have to pick up your food. Once your food is done, please put back everything onto the same tray. Our boy will collect it. So this is our idea of contactless dining. And we displayed a TV screen showing live kitchens.
Yeah.
You want to know what kind of a protocol? I said, you can watch that. You don't have to come into my thing. Again, safety, safe distance, all that we had to do. Those 3 things paid off. We opened first 7 restaurants. And by then we had to let go about 2,000 employees back home. Again, we said, boss, go back. When it's ready, we will call you back. So October ho gaya. November, we opened another 7 restaurants. That time we were operating about 24. In the 24, we closed 4 restaurants permanently. So we had to scatter the whole opening aspect. So in June, we opened 7. November, we opened another 7. Next April, we opened another. That was post the second lockdown. And thankfully, at that time, I think I must, give it to Swiggy and Zomato at that time. They were the ones who helped keep our kitchens open. Whatever the world talks about them doesn't matter. But those guys helped us keep our kitchens open. I was able to feed my staff 3 times a day. With all of that, I think we went pillar to pillar running to each bank. Bhai, kuch to de de. At least moratorium de de. So 1 year, I was bleeding with interest payments. Still trying to struggle to keeping things afloat. So we were on an average doing a 22 crore turnover monthly, which came down to 4 crores. And it took us about 13 months to come back to that. 14 months to come back to that 20 crore thing. So came 2021, August is where all the outlets reopened. By 2021, October, most of my employees came back. And by then, all rental payments, all vendor payments were cleared. But what was still pending was my salaries. I had a 4.5 crore pending salary to be paid. And at that time, we did not do any expansions. We only focused on major refurbishments. I said, if I had to close something, I said, to hell with everything else. Band karna to band karo. And at that time, a lot of elders from my in-laws, they supported me. They gave me a lot of advice and mentoring. And like I said, uncles were there. To an extent, probably they were hesitant because, nobody was used to shutting down. They were only used to opening more and more. So I think some bold steps were taken. And came in the year October, 2022, October, I had that money to pay back my staff.
Earned from the business.
Internal accruals, no borrowing, nothing. So first thing we did, 4.5 crores. I told the finance guys, boss, nothing doing. Open a different current account, push all the money there. Whoever is working with us, they get paid first, along with their own salary. And I said, don't make announcements. Quietly call everyone, give it. And after of that, I think 4.5 crores of payment, I think it was owed to about 800 or 900 odd people. And this 4.5 crores was worth 2.5 months worth of salary for these people. And in that 900, we could only get about 50% of them. We could only get hold of 50% of them. I said, tell all these guys, call their family, whatever, go to their native, tell them the salaries are open. Sir, out of that 900, everybody came forward. I could pay everyone. And in that 900, I think 850 came back to us to work. Now, this is why I say we are in the people business and not food business. That is what our business taught me. Because staying grounded, looking after your people is first. Customers will always come. Why? Because you have a great product, you have a great brand, you have great people. So if customers have to come, are you treating your employees well? So the core value itself says people before profit. And that is something that I had to live with. And even today, we still live that.
This is, as you were narrating, this has been like I was watching a movie. I'm not making this up. Like, one is that I'm a visual thinker, but I think the emotion, narration, and what you're talking about is crazy.
Those are the most difficult years of my life. Not my life, I think Empire's life, I would say. Because in the history, we never imagined this could happen. And that was something, really helped us bounce back. Because we stayed grounded. And I remember our revenues going from 220 to 150. 70 crores ka ek saal ka loss tha. And then 150 hovered about 2 years. Then from the 170, we suddenly shot up to 250. From the 250, we went up to a 370. That was a 60% year-on-year growth. And that was phenomenal. And we didn't add many outlets. We didn't add many staff. So same store sales growth went up 168%.
168%
year-on-year on a same store. So a store that was doing 70 lakhs a month, today is doing, touchwood, 2.2 crores.
Wow.
So that was the growth, not just of the store, of the city also. So the city grew strong. And when the city grew strong, I think very few brands were there which the people trusted. And from day one post-COVID, one thing we did was the protocol aspect. We made sure the brand is safe, as always, for them to come back. That faith paid off. So it was not my hard work.
I think there is definitely a lot of hard work and a lot of wisdom.
Of course,
but I think what you're saying is correct. I think COVID was a time where I could clearly see this one difference, which is brands who compounded trust, who sided with credibility, made sure that their raw material quality is consistent, their practices are consistent, their taste is consistent. If they had compounded any kind of trust during COVID, they survived through Swiggy and Zomato and thrived later.
Absolutely.
And the brands who did shortchange their customers, did not care about consistency, did not care about their credibility, they all got screwed so royally during COVID. Because during COVID, when the world is going through bad time, people don't want to experiment with stupid.
Yeah.
When things are great, when life is going good.
Exactly.
When you're 15, 18-year-old, you can, eat shit from the street. Like, you'll be like, yeah, look, there's a queue, something is tasty, right?
True.
As you grow older, you're like, no, it's really about the stakes. So I think what you're telling me is also a function of what your family, what your father, grew and compounded. That's
grounded approach always helped us in bringing in more success.
Shakir, I'll take you, back a little,
Please.
Pre-COVID,
Yeah.
right? So this 2018 to 20, time when you were, in your words, you were a watchman on the business.
Yes.
What was that like? Because, as I'm picturing it, is that you are in this business where the entire pyramid is quite set.
Yeah.
From the bottom to mid to top is there. Top, you have your family, as well as your, oldest, managers.
Yep.
Then you have your mid, and then you have your bottom. And you are not only an outsider, but you can have all, there can be different perceptions, that, you know nothing, or maybe you know a little less, or maybe you're a leader or not. what made you watch, those 2 years? One, like, what made you sustain as somebody who was trying to make the change, but I'm sure must be difficult
Yeah.
to make those changes. And what did you learn in those 2 years, which you were, slowly bottling or just, keeping with you, saving with you, that led to that 20? Because no matter what adversity, right? You can't really take an action on things. I mean, if I don't know coding,
Yeah.
In the day of adversity, I can't start coding, right?
Exactly.
Give me some stories or anecdotes from there.
I think a very interesting story there is, after my dad passed, my wife's uncle came home 3-4 days later. He called me and my brother, sat us down. And so he's the patriarch of that family. And he sat us down and he said, boys, some advice for you. It's like your father's life is like an encyclopedia. Okay. You will go through the exact same problems what your father went through. And I was like, okay. It's like when you reach a situation, what you simply do is open the encyclopedia, go to that chapter, read through what your father did. What you can change is the outcome. So your father may not have succeeded in all of those outcomes. He would have failed in some. That could be a wrong judgment. Probably he did not have that, but his intent was clean. So he said, keep your intent very clean. That is your niyat. It is your belief in God. So if you believe in God, good will always happen. So ensure your intent is very clean. And you will go through the exact same problems what your father went through when he was growing the business. People will support you. People will be against you. But you ensure that the chapter is there. The outcome was well defined. You are in a position to change the outcome. So he asked me, do you want to be the source of change? Oh, you want to finish it all, he asked me. I said, no, I wish to be the source of change. I said, then there's a lot you have to do. There's a lot you have to endure. Don't start off big. That's when I remember my dad always taught me one thing. It's like slow and steady wins the race. Then I realized, why he took close to 30 years to establish the business and then put up a second outlet. Our second outlet came in literally after the 35, 40 years. Right? So that 2 years as a silent watchman, I was retrospecting, introspecting, going as a flashback, going through every situation that my father and my uncles went through. What went wrong, what was right. So these 2 years, why I watched was, if I take any action immediately or overnight, the repercussions or the consequences are much larger. Because why? Because we had a lot to lose. We were negative. Everything was at the brink of, shutting down. We were running on a very, very thin line of safety and margin. So any step that I would take would completely bring us down to the seabed. I think that belief of not doing anything and hold your horses, I think probably really helped becoming a great watchman. And in that, while I was watching, I started, and I was always very keen with accounts and numbering. So I was a good finance guy. So my dad was very particular about numbers, and I learned that from him. He taught me how to do what we used to call a day book. That day book is basically, that is your master document. You open that, you know the strength of your business. And it used to be to the detail. And no layman can understand that. That was our secret weapon. He taught me that. With that secret weapon, I started going back home every day and doing my own accounting. Speaking to a few people. By then, I had finished a course in IIM.
What is net every day, exactly?
Not just every day. I first looked at what we lost over these years and what was the reason for the loss. Like, business is growing. No money. Borrowing more. Opening more outlets. फंडा था कि भाई नहीं और outlets आएंगे. Overhead balance हो जाएगा. But by the time the balance could happen, COVID came. Everything went out of balance. So by then I realized, if we don't clear our debt before going forward, we're going to get screwed big time. So again, the challenge was, even post-COVID, we still had to clear the debt. Because one thing was, we could always raise money through a private equity. We could have done various things. But again, Dad was very clear. अपने धंधे में कोई बाहर वाला के कुछ बोलेगा नहीं. He can't sit on my table and tell me what to do just because he gave me some money. So that always stuck in my head. There were many opportunities for me to raise money.
I'm sure, and I'm sure even today,
Yes,
and every day.
Yes. So I took it upon myself as like, kuch bhi karo. One, we have to get profitable. Growth has to be sustainable because dad built it like that. His brothers built it like that. I'm no different.
Shakir, the point you're making is, that I mean, I can see from all different aspects. You're basically talking about financial prudence.
Yes.
And you're also talking about a business being inherently healthy.
Yes.
Rather than just optically great and
Absolutely.
Great top line. In the restaurant industry, and this is not a menace here in India.
Mm-hmm.
It's a menace across the board. From my vantage point, I can tell you that
Mm-hmm.
at least 50 countries, I guarantee people are built of the same same ambition and the same problem.
Right.
I see a lot of businesses. Let's talk about India. I see a lot of chains today who ideally should not be chains. First of all, they're very good brands, they're very good product, they're very good food.
Right.
They should not be a chain. Like I look at them and I'm like, why are you a chain? Like you're doing really well. And then scale kills them.
Yes.
Which is what you're also alluding to, that you're raising more funds, or you're raising more funds either via debt or equity. You're opening more stores thinking that there's going to be some magical economies of scale that will hit you, and everything is going to be a windfall gain from that point onwards. When you look at it today, what do you tell in private a restaurant owner who's bleeding through all orifices? What do you tell people actually piche?
That's a very interesting point, Ashish. Like I said, that the financial prudence. Why do you need that financial prudence? Is because if your product is not doing right, the finances are not right. So if you're not selling, what are you taking home? So one thing that I realized was scale of economy is good, and the economies of scale, all that is great. But what does your customer think about you? We opened many outlets together, and if the taste is not same in outlet A versus outlet B, then we have not cracked it. Correct. What is the point of doing it? And that was, I think, when I took over, was the age of cloud kitchens. That came.
It was the hype cycle.
Many blunders. I think we burnt a lot of money in about 18 months of time. Amount of money I probably could put an outlet, and in that 18 months it would have been broken even also by then. So went back to the drawing board and understood there is a huge problem in our back-end systems. From procurement, process, no governance in the procurement aspect, no governance in the central kitchen. So we had a central kitchen, very traditional kind of a central kitchen. And whatever space was available, we were just putting up an extra machine. Okay, idhar se bhi banao, udhar se banao. So there was never a positive flow of work, right? Randomly vendors would come and sell anything that they want. We were onboarding as and when we feel like. So all this was the result of aggressive growth, because you naturally tend to ignore all of these points. Why? Nahi, growth karna hai. All you tell the vendors, I'm opening another outlet, ensure supplies are there. But you do not go back to the product wherein your cooks, your chefs, they're not able to match the scale. He was good for 3 restaurants. एक कढ़ाई में वो 100 liter बनाएगा, ठीक है. Moment 2 other कढ़ाईs came, it went for a toss. So each कढ़ाई would taste different.
With the same chef.
Exactly. I was like, no. So my journey actually started in 2016 when I was, pestering my managers. It's like, why is this? Why is that? I like, boss, no. We need to have some kind of a great backup where there is a lot of science involved. There's a lot of art involved. But at the same time, our chefs, I wouldn't say chefs, our cooks, our masters are very empowered to do this. So that's when the whole idea of Center of Excellence came into my mind, before I could even take over as CEO. So that I had to shelve the plan. I signed off with a consultant. We worked for about 6 months together, where he was just trying to explain the whole core philosophy of what a Center of Excellence means to NKP Empire. And that consultant was a childhood customer of ours. He's my childhood friend uncle. So for me, today is the greatest mentor and coach that has been. So he's to an extent helped me become the CEO I am today. So at that time, he said, boss, I said, sir, अभी आगे जाना मुश्किल है. Transition period है. I have to take over as CEO. He said, don't worry. Retainer गया भाड़ में. You tell me what help do you want. One thing I see, there is a spark that you have. You understood your pain and your passion. Right? And there is a change that you want to bring in, and I will ensure that I'm giving you my all to bring that change. We put up a plan. We had my mother's property was there. We started off contractual signing, ये वो करेंगे, 9 crore का investment था. This was in the year 2021 after COVID and all. It was getting better. Still then again, I was being a little more over ambitious there. पैसे नहीं थे हाथ में. The debt was still there. But then something kept telling me, he's like, no, this is what you need. This is going to be the game changer. This is what you really need. So there I started investing in tech, data. We never had data. It was more of, very impulsive reactions that we used to call the shots.
Yeah. No, I actually tell, traditional businesses and restaurants are notorious in that.
Yes.
I always joke about this.
Yes.
That everybody in the world has data. Restaurateurs have feelings.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. So
उसको
we
feelings
had
से
to-
मालूम है कि क्या होने वाला है, कैसे
Exactly.
होएगा. And everybody's so sure in that you can't just beat them.
And post-COVID, the whole dynamics of business changed. Right? What was selling really well did not sell. So one thing that I realized was, if we don't bring in that level of consistency in our products, in our service, in what we do, we will not survive for a longer period of
Do
time.
you have the heart to tell, restaurateurs who are bleeding candidly
Absolutely.
कि please बंद करिए इसको,
बिल्कुल sir.
मत करो ये growth.
मुंह पे बोल
क्या
दूंगा.
बात हो रही है? क्या होता है? People who
They
are
get
coming to
offended.
you. हाँ?
They get offended.
Hmm.
अरे क्या बात कर रहा है ये? अरे सर सही सच बोल रहा हूँ, कड़वा लगेगा ही. This is something I went through.
Hmm.
And that change probably, took away a little bit of my health also. I was fighting for that change. One, you have elephants and horses and foxes and wolves sitting in 2-3 decades of experience. What do you know? Your father used to do it this way. That only will succeed. Like, no. So I had to fight my way out to understand. First, getting the mandate, which I got. My uncle gave it to me. My brother supported me. ठीक है, ये कुछ कर रहा है, करने दो. And came year 2022 is where I officially signed off with my consultant saying, अब बनेगा COE. And when I signed off with him in 2017 to versus 2022, there was a 360% growth in our volumes. Not in sales, in our volumes.
Hmm.
So let's say we were consuming 4 tons of poultry back in 2018.
Hmm.
It reached 2022, 2023. We were already reaching 10 tons. It's like, no, whatever we had planned then, we have to go 3x. So it was a 15,000 square foot facility. Today it's a 70,000 square foot facility. That is where the 25 crores went. I was questioned, it's like, why so much money you're spending? In time, we will tell you. Why? So what did we bring in? Not just traditional way of doing things. We brought in tech. We brought in IoT4. We brought in a lot of, I wouldn't say AI, but a lot of intelligence, which what the chefs could do in a restaurant, we could do it at a factory level.
Hmm.
So what is the difference, in terms of where the technology comes in is, for me, I believe it is the artisanal creativity of a chef, but at industrial consistency.
Beautiful. Beautifully put.
So we had to ensure that balance was right. So that's when we decided we need to bring in food, bring in science and art to create magic.
Shakir, tell me, how have you changed in last 10 years?
I think 2015
क्या
onwards.
बदला है in you as a person which you recognize कि यार ये ऐसे था और अभी ऐसे हो गया? अच्छा बुरा, doesn't matter.
I think it will be very difficult for me to put it in a very simplest way. The 2015, what I was to what I am today, I really can't go back and think, it's like, was I really like this, thinking very careless, very reckless, like, जो होता है देखने दे. But today, just like my father used to say, even my uncles, for me, it's like the smallest thing make the biggest difference. Today, when I walk into my restaurant, the table setup में अगर वो spoon टेढ़ा है, मेरे को गुस्सा आता है भाई. Same thing, there's a fire, I'll be the most calm person in the room. Why? Because that fire is not in my control. That bloody spoon is in my control. Why is it not the right?
Yeah.
I think that is the change. Again, that change was not from me. I learned it from my grandfather and my father.
Subconsciously.
Exactly. I think it runs in the blood. It runs in the genes. So eventually, I think the people of NKP Empire understood was this man is trying to get into the footsteps of his father and uncles, and we are going to be looking at prosperity. And God willingly, it came.
I'll double click on that. Again, any other change, like for example, as a people leader, you also evolve.
Yes.
And you
Very
continuously evolve, right?
Yeah.
What are 1 or 2, 3, did you introspect that, or you feel that, okay, I was like, one is this, that things that you care for, and things that you are careless about,
Yeah.
or things that you are calm about and hyper about. What else? As a
So I
person,
think I went from being judgmental to being more curious.
tell me more.
So when I said judgmental, like I said, that recklessness, the carelessness came from their attitude. So I thought that I knew everything. But came 2018, came 2020, बस कुछ नहीं था. I literally knew I was a zero, like duck-out batsman की तरह. So that silent watchman, it did not go really well, Ashish. I think it was the most painful years of my life, wherein I couldn't speak. I didn't know what to do. And I was scared. If I take this step, one, the family would question. Second, the leadership is going to make fun of me. Third, the market is going to laugh at me. Like the previous people who left and went and like, this will come crashing down. What does the young boy know? So all that was constantly playing in my mind. Like I said, by going from a totally stress-free, careless fellow, where I never worried even about my exams. Like, end of the day, I know first class मिल जाएगा. And dad always said, बस डिग्री ले लो, दीवार पे लगा दो, और कुछ नहीं करना है. नाम के लिए वो चाहिए. But the actual value is in what you do. So those 2 years went like really bad for me. And from being judgmental to being curious was the biggest change I saw as a leader. And eventually I realized, some people say I was born to do this. I was born to do this. I was not born to do this. I was chosen to do this. And like I said, as a child, my inclination towards business was always there. But with zero understanding of what lies there.
Can I tell you something? This is, do you remember first time I met you?
Yes.
Where?
We met on a call. We did not meet in physical thing, if I remember. We did? Sorry,
I
think my memory is weak.
No. but that's exactly. So, and I mean, a visual appeared just now. That's why I'm sharing this. We did meet on a call.
Yeah.
Early 2019.
Yes.
And then late or mid 2019, we did a POSIST mixer. We were called POSIST then.
Correct.
And we organized a POSIST mixer at Arbor Brewing
Company.
And I remember, and this was like a room of 50 restaurateurs of the city. And we invited you.
Yes.
Shivam actually invited you.
Yes, correct.
And I met you there for the first time.
Yes.
Every time you were repeating this, 18 to 20 was a silent Shakir. I will not call it perception. My experience of you in that mixer was that you were the most silent guy in the room. For real. So I did not actively was thinking about it, but I do remember, cut to, I think last year we met.
In 2023 we started again.
But we met like I think last year 24, right? And I was still carrying the perception of a guy who doesn't speak at all. As in, like doesn't speak at all means can be introvert or can be, doesn't feel like speaking, whatever, right?
Naturally, I was always an introvert. Yes, no doubt.
Yeah, so, and you met me and you were chirpy. So I remember actually rewiring my, perception. Ki, oh, wow. I mean, I met him in 2019. He was absolutely, silent. He was, he was in the room, but not in the room. Met people, but you stayed. I remember that. you stayed through that mixer.
Yes, I did.
You know, when you entered, it felt like that you'll eject very quick, like you'll bounce
Yeah,
at the first
yeah,
opportunity, but you sustained. Was that is that just connecting the dots randomly, or was that a time where you were really going through that period of silence where you were looking at a room full of restaurateurs and feeling? Because I'm just curious now.
I think
Was
you're
it?
absolutely, no, you spot on with that. Looking at a room full of restaurateurs, everyone's smiling, everyone's talking about what they're doing. And for me, when I go back home and I'm like, I wish to do all of these things, but it's still not happening. And how do we get there?
Wow.
I think that persistence, that perseverance did pay off. And I would say it was not just me alone. I had a beautiful team with me who helped me pull this off. They gave me that assurance at each level, like, sir, we are with you no matter what. Because one thing, I did not sell them a dream. The dream was always there. Like I say, today I'm living my father's dream. And I wish to live my own dream. So if I have to live my own dream, what do I need to do? So one thing that I've learned from my elders was, they always kept everybody else's interests as a priority and not theirs. They forgot to live. Today we're at a certain level, they still don't know how to live. So that's not how life works.
What are you doing for your dreams?
I think every aspiration that I think I've been inspired, I've been aspirational that way for me to do certain things. And I'm a lover of cars. Right? I love motorsports. And always dreamt of buying a sports car. And I did last year.
Which one?
It was a Porsche 911.
Nice.
Yes.
What color?
It's a red one. And I always, my dad always believed in going and buying a new car. He did not like second-hand cars. I never liked second-hand cars too. Because my brother was like, why do you want to waste money, boss? You'll get half the price. I was like, no, I don't care. I don't mind waiting 14 months. But I would still want to get it brand new off the showroom. And I think I was blessed that way for me to come a long way and, fulfill that aspiration of mine.
But that's amazing. I think it's less about the what that car costs, and it's more about how you feel about it.
Exactly.
Each
time I sit in there, it reminds me of my journey. It does make me feel proud, but that's not something that you announce.
Yeah.
That car is for me to enjoy, not for the world to see. So I do most of my drives in the night or early morning, where it's oblivious that the road is mine. I think throughout the way I was able to accomplish, I was able to fulfill each one of those dreams that I had, and there are more. You go from your own dreams to fulfilling dreams for other people. I think now I'm at that stage where I wish to see everyone else happy. I remember today our chief of accounts worked with my dad, came in 1998. Young boy was 17 years old, sitting in the clerk thing and, making note of what order went out. And that time we had this cardboard wala, and on top all the waiters' names will be there. Side mein item list rahega. Each time one item goes, they used to put at one, scratch. End of the day, used to do the counting. And I went through that grind too. So a person who was doing that at a salary of close to about 200 rupees a day, today earns 2.5 lakh rupees as a chief of accounts. He's
Fantastic.
the closest to me. Right?
Fantastic.
He was the closest to dad. Doesn't hold any degree, sir. Koi exposure nahi. Half of his life he spent in Empire. But one thing that we've built over time is loyalty. If I have paid them for something, I have paid them for their loyalty. Skill always comes later. I always believe skill can be bought, can be taught. Loyalty is above all else.
Well said. Absolutely. And I think that doesn't only apply to restaurant business. It applies to every business.
Absolutely.
I think one thing that I really wanted to say is that, what your father said is real, but I mean, it's true in the restaurant business, but I think it's true. I run a tech business. But I can assure you. Yeah. No, I can assure you that it's as much a people's business as anything can be. In fact, I generally tell people कि यार बाकी traditional business के पास तो factory होता है, माल होता है. कुछ तो होता है ना कि if people disappear, right, you still have an asset.
Yes.
Tech company, literally if people disappear, there is literally nothing, right? Everything else is soft.
Very true.
There is no other hardware. So I think loyalty and I think compounding relationship with people is of most value. Yeah. And in restaurants, it becomes even difficult because even more crucial, I would say, because you're dealing with your customers, And I think that has that been one of the biggest loyalty, programs for Empire? Do your, like, what is it like at a old Empire store? Are there regular customers? They already know people from
Yes.
many years.
Yes, absolutely. So we have grandfathers coming with their grandchildren to the same restaurant.
Wow.
Every week, same day of the week, same time. So our people recognized. The customers recognized them. So the oldest outlet that is in our central state, we don't shuffle. I can never shuffle. The moment I shuffle, because one thing that we believe is our customer is the biggest critic. He's the biggest patron. He's the biggest ambassador for us. If he says, नहीं भाई ये इधर से नहीं हटेगा सर. आप जो बोलेंगे वही होगा. आज वो बोल रहा नहीं दाल में आज नमक कम है, बिल्कुल नमक कम. वापस लेके बदला के देंगे. Because he's been my patron for 30 years. He's bringing his child, he's bringing his grandchild and saying, I used to come 35 years ago and eat in this place. His father used to be here serving. His grandfather used to be there. That time the restaurant was like this. The sofas were torn. And, there used to be a jukebox playing this. We used to put 25 paisa and play this. So the people come with memories. And one thing that, when I said, when we had deviated from the original founder's dream in that year where the growth, the aggressive growth was coming in. And when I took over, one thing I was hell-bent in bringing back was that nostalgia. Because wherever I went, whenever I got introduced, like CEO of Empire or Empire family, everyone spoke of a memory first, then the food.
Yeah.
So I said, then I decided as like, if we are creating a great brand, if we have to create a great place to work and to dine, we need to, bank on the memories of people. So literally, I used to talk to every customer possible. It's like, what do you think was right when the seniors were running it? What do you think went wrong when the manager was running it? Now, since the owner manager is back, what do you think I should change? He said, sir, nothing doing. जो 30 साल पहले का गी राइस था, कबाब था, बटर चिकन था, अपने को वही चाहिए. Like, it doesn't matter what your walls are painted with, doesn't matter what your tables look like. That first bite. If you watch this movie called Ratatouille, it's an animated movie.
Yeah, of course. I'm a fan.
That guy, Egor, is the critic's name. He takes that bite towards the end. And he goes back to his mother's thing.
Exactly.
And I love movies. And for me, I take a lot of inspiration from movies. That movie was one. So when I realized, when people talk about memories, that is what relates them. And what triggers an empire is the memory.
That is so true. I'll tell you a story from my childhood. I'm born and raised in Delhi. In north of Delhi, there is a restaurant called Invitation.
Okay.
Continues to exist. Invitation was a fine dine of 80s. Okay. And if I take you there right now, you'll actually see this yesteryear's feel, but you will still feel that it's high end.
Yeah.
So imagine this was 80s, the same decor. In 2025, they have the same decor.
Wow.
And, my childhood, it was one of those restaurants, early days, people are, you were from a restaurateur family, but, people used to go out on occasions.
Yeah.
So for me as a kid, as early as, 6 years, for me, restaurant was Invitation. So going out meant invitation. So I remember they used to have a family section on the first floor. Ground was, bar, and, -1 was, rest of the mix section. So while going to the first floor, they had a rhino, a leather rhino, this height. Like a kid can ride it, can just sit on it, right? So I remember when my parents were eating and I was done eating, I used to basically play with that rhino. And I kept on going there forever. I'll tell you the funny thing. I still go to Invitation. I generally go and sit, in the -1 or the ground. But I'll actually, and it's almost like a compulsive disorder or something.
Wow.
I will actually go to first floor, check out the rhino, come back. I do it right now. I
Wow.
do it now.
Wow.
And I have legit once caught hold of the owner.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, I know that you're keeping the decor absolutely sane. So hats off. The day you want to change, please sell me this rhino, whatever money you want. And he laughed and he said, but why? I said, I have no idea why. I said, I have zero idea why.
Yes.
But there is something about this
Yeah.
that the day you tell me, oh, we just
Absolutely,
discarded it,
absolutely.
I'll be really sad.
True, I know,
So
I
what
know.
you're telling me is, if I walk into invitation today, I exactly know what I'm going to taste.
Yeah.
I know exactly how it smells.
Yes.
I know how it feels like
Yes.
sitting there. It's literally just nostalgia and memory.
True. Because that happens when, for me, I am my own customer. Each time I travel out of India, get back, it's not my mom's food or my wife's food that I'm craving for. I am craving for my coin parota, butter chicken and kebab. तब तक वो अंदर जाएगा नहीं सर. Doesn't feel like I'm back home.
मैं फिर एक confession है, मैंने I only had biryani at Empire long back. So अभी मैं I'll next time I'm
Biryani
in
is not
Bangalore,
even the signature of Empire.
मेरे को मौका नहीं मिला. So I used to be a vegetarian actually.
अच्छा.
I grew up a vegetarian.
अच्छा. Okay.
I converted to being a non-vegetarian barely 9-10 years back. But वो अलग बात है कि अभी मैं सब कुछ खाता हूँ. There is no holds barred.
Right.
I have gone to crazy food, but that's for some other day. I'm gonna take note of
True,
what you love at Empire.
I think for me, most of it has been very inspirational, Ashish. Even today, Center of Excellence was being built on that inspiration, or rather an aspiration that I had. Because I used to be very keen on watching your National Geographic and Discovery Channel with this mega kitchens of India and a lot of these American companies were producing like millions in a day. It's like, one day when we have to get there. But then the idea of being a restaurant company versus a product company, two different things.
Correct.
Today, we are on the verge or on the journey of becoming a product company. Why? Because we are rolling out IP products out of our facility, not just a butter chicken. Like I said, that artisanal creativity versus the industrial consistency. That is something we took years to master. Right? So that today is giving us more confidence, more courage to go and conquer new geographies. We never thought that we would ever get out of Bangalore. Today, our first outlet in Tamil Nadu, though it's just at the border of Karnataka, we got accepted, touch wood. So today it gives me confidence. Okay, boss, we start going up north, going down south to Tamil Nadu. We are opening one in Andhra Pradesh, again, a border town. So today when I was at the World Food India event, I happened to meet one of the executives from ENY, and he's like, sir, our commerce minister is here. They are trying to make the Amaravati as the capital now. They're investing 4,000 crores. We would want to meet you. I was like, great.
Brilliant. Yeah.
I said, I would want to meet the minister. I can come down. Let's hear the plan. I don't mind investing. That we have 4 brands. I can open all 4 brands there. So we have a QSR model. So we have a boutique model. So we can do this. Said, yes. When are you back to Bangalore? I said, I'm traveling. But when you are in Bangalore, please let us know. I will drive down to Amaravati. No problem. He's like, sir, that would be great. We are looking out for brands which can, sustain. Today, when the investor fraternity talks about brands that are sustainable, any new projects coming in, they're not going to start up brands. Before, everything was open for startups. Today, nobody wants a startup. Why? We want it to sustain. We want that brand to stay there, not walk out in 3 months or 6 months. So I think...
Where is this ambition going? Do you want to talk about it?
Yes, I think one
spill
thing I put forth as a team, we put forth was Vision 2030. And again, when you say Vision 2030, oh, you're opening many outlets. No. I said, I'm only looking to open 25 more outlets.
Because the perception of size is the problem.
Yeah.
Like if you're a 34, 45, 50 store chain versus your 500, how many people will actually, and most of the people don't know, how prosperous and in size of revenue a 50 store versus 500 store can be. That's
exactly. Like I said, and going forward with Vision 2030, I think it's not just targets or numbers, Ashish. I am very keen on bringing the right kind of a cultural and a structural shift in what we do. And I tell my team, it's like, do not think Vision 2030 is the end just because we are a 60-year-old company. I said, Vision 2030 is the foundation of NKP Empire Ventures. So all this while we have been Empire. Since the last 15 years, we've transformed into being called NKP Empire, what you see on my t-shirt. Please don't ask me what it stands for, I mean, I don't know.
Really?
But it's a family name. It's a very large name. Even I can't pronounce it properly. But then again, that came in because when we were migrating to a private limited company, you had to choose a name, and Empire Ventures was not available. So we had to prefix the NKP there.
Interesting.
And there is a saying, the more you talk about it, the world listens. The universe listens to you. So I think it's been a 2-year journey for me where I was openly marketing and
NKP.
talking about NKP. And
Nice.
today, people recognize us as NKP Empire Ventures.
Nice.
Not just Empire. So the more you speak, like when I
Branding
was,
101.
exactly. So when I was in Saudi Arabia a couple of months ago, I was at the Holy Mosque, and even the staff there. Now, as you land in Saudi Arabia, you start seeing Vision 2030, Vision 20. Even the staff wear uniforms, Vision 2030 is proud. So everybody is saying Vision 2030. Oh, something is happening in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And they're talking about it, from NEOM to this to that, everything. So I was like, we need to talk. And I have been openly advocating NKP Empire Ventures, Vision 2030. So today, people recognize us as NKP. So like I said, the Vision 2030 is purely a cultural and structural shift, plus a foundation for us to go beyond 2030. So if you ask me what are the next 10 years, there's a lot happening. But 10 years, I think, a little too long for me to say. 5 years, I am very clear of what I'm doing. Outlets, structural change, the cultural shift that has to come in. We've always been number one in Bangalore. We have to ensure we remain number one. Like Sheikh Mohammed said, I want my people to have number one. I don't know what number two means. I said, Empire has never seen a number two. We want to remain number one. And what do we need to do to remain number one? Not say, okay, we are number one, we'll remain. No. You can always lose the status. Today, who are we competing with? Who is your immediate competitor? Who do you want to target and reach a certain level of revenue? I said, everything has a purpose. I said, Vision 2030, my second priority is my revenue. First priority is that shift that needs to come in the attitude and the mindset, and the way we deal with people. I said, by 2030, I want every manager to know who he is working with. I don't want any of them calling like, hey, idhar aao, hey, udhar jao. You call them by name.
Brilliant. On that, Gen Z, on both sides. Millennials and, 3 generations dining is nostalgia.
Yes.
Gen Z has a problem.
Yes.
Gen Z does not have nostalgia.
Yep.
And I think brands like Domino's and Pizza Hut are also struggling to,
Yes.
kind of capture the fancy of people who were
Yes.
probably born after 2005 or I also see in the service industry, in the restaurant as well as hotels, I see in service industry, the young ones are on phone. And they don't want to do the service.
Yeah.
They don't want to do the physical hard work.
Yes.
What's happening? What's happening according to you?
I think it's a
Or what are you doing about it?
I think I would say Gen Zs are the most, I wouldn't say smart, but they are the most balanced generation we can find going forward. I'll tell you why. Because off late, our night business, as the post-midnight business, has been slowly deteriorating. Many reasons to it. One, the roads, weather, and all of that. And not just so when our business goes down, there is an immediate business that is taking the hit. That is the bars and pubs. So the bars and pubs in Bangalore are seeing less business throughout the week, which is causing about 20% loss of business at nights, which is in turn giving me a 15% less of business at night.
Correct.
Who are the customers?
You
not
are the
millennials.
spot
It is purely the Gen Zs who don't want to stay out at night, who are not drinking, who are not spending money on alcohol. They are health conscious. Why? Because they have a certain purpose to live for. So when you say Gen Z, they're purposeful people. Some are dumb. Some are extremely smart.
But those
Some
are
are illogical.
That's okay.
But at the end of the day, even for a Gen Z, you always want to go back home and eat your dal roti. So even for a Gen Z, Empire is going to be that dal roti. So like I said, when grandfathers come with their grandchildren, today those grandchildren are all Gen Zs today, right? They come back. because they sense they have a certain level of comfort when you come to Empire. The food gives them that comfort. The atmosphere gives them that comfort. They know for a fact nothing crazy or thing is happening. They probably chose to come at a natural hour, not post midnight, because they don't want to be part of the ugly gang. Somebody is making very noise. Somebody is in a very different state of mind. So they're very clear what they want. They're ordering online. They're taking their takeaways. And I've been to a lot of these universities to give keynote speeches, and they all connect with me. The students, they're all about 18, 19, 20. And I was there at that time. So I go back and think, what was I thinking when I was 18, 19, 22 versus what they are thinking today? They're very purposeful. They know what they want. We didn't back then. I didn't know what I want when I was 18, 19, 20. They know what they want. So for us, bringing in that mix in terms of the food we serve and how we serve is going to, be questioned by these guys. So they are, again, they can switch really fast. For them, loyalty holds no value. They don't believe in that. They said, if I like something, yes, I might do it every month. That doesn't mean that I'm going to die for it, no. They're very clear. Comes next, like my daughter who's 10 years old. They are the Gen Alphas.
Alpha.
That is quite scary, to be honest. Gen Zs are understandable. But Gen Alphas, they're going to be quite crazy. I don't know how they're going to be behaving. Because today, my daughter is just 10. And her ear hole has got covered. She told my wife, Mama, I'm very clear. It's my ear. I don't want to do it.
Nightmare.
I don't like wearing it. When I'm ready for it, I'm going to tell you. And she said it in a very nice, polite way and not disrespectful. So my wife was like, what do I reply to this girl? She called me. She's saying this. I said, I'm proud of her to say that.
Yeah.
At that age, she's clear of what she wants.
Totally. And
Okay.
she
And
feels
she's being
the
vocal
agency.
about it.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's taking the agency to express that.
Yes. So it's a boon and a bane because they can immediately switch. They can say no, reject. और उसके बाद कुछ भी करो वो वापस नहीं लेंगे. So the emotions, the sentiments are far different for each generation. I think Gen Z is still there because they've seen a bit of a struggle. Gen A is absolute entitlement, sir. So
I have a 1-year-old, so I am not even interested in knowing what's going to happen. I'm not even thinking about it.
I know.
Shakir, what do you do to keep yourself nurtured? How do you learn, or what's your learning system, if there is any formal learning system, or what energizes you, what refreshes you?
I think for me, my learning, like I said, I don't go around looking for things that I want to know about this. I'm a person who likes to, if something catches my attention, I'm a person who believes in my gut. My gut is the strongest support of my own conscience. If my gut says there is something in it, I would not hold back from trying it out or doing whatever is required. In that, a lot of learning happens. And most of my learning has happened in terms of a negative aspect. I would get into something which I always thought should be, this is going to be great. But then it turns out to be absolute nonsense or bullshit. There's a learning that happens there. I am not a voracious reader. But like I said, I watch a lot of movies. I'm not a rom-com guy. No, I only watch crime scenes. I watch a lot of adventure action movies.
3 movie recommendations though.
In terms of a crime, I think more than a movie, it's a series. I watch The Blacklist, Mr. Raymond Reddington. Absolutely nailed it.
I haven't watched, but yeah, I know.
So
the series.
Movies, I think the all-time favorite has been the Batman trilogy. Because I always take back one dialogue in that movie. In the first series, when this guy falls into that well, Bruce, and the father comes and he asks Bruce, why do we fall? So we can always pick ourselves up and get better at what we are doing. That is something I always take back. I think that's there in my head day in and day out. And I think the third one I would say is the Ratatouille. I think it connects with what we do. Precision. Zero tolerance. No compromise. That butter chicken till date, I think we've moved on to using a natural color alternative to the synthetic dye. And it's been 2 months, we're still struggling with it. Why? Because this is an oleo resin. That was a powder. That can go up to any assault, even 1000 degrees, kuch nahi hoga. This oleo resin, it's an oil, right? Oil and water, oil is lighter than water. So each time there's a temperature difference, the oil disintegrates from the water particles. It starts coming and laying on top. And this is new for us. Customers are complaining. So that is like a challenge which I have to overcome, come what may. There is absolutely it's a non-negotiable for me. That butter chicken cannot have oil. 50 years that oil wasn't there. How can it come now? But that doesn't mean I can go back to my synthetic, right? I still have to remain natural. So what do we do? So that is a kind of a learning. So these are kind of situations where I go and learn something. So movies, situations, people.
When I go out in the world, Batman, at times, especially Americans get really surprised because when they see that we, do tech for, 50 countries and, we do full stack tech, right? So an average American will always, this question will always come up.
Yeah.
And they'll say, how come, you guys are able to do all of that and it still works? So I generally quote Batman. I tell them that while you guys are barely trying to get accustomed to the dark.
Correct.
We were born in it.
Exactly.
I said, come to India.
Exactly, yes.
I'll come to India. I'll show you how business is done. and you'll become very, very versatile and smart overnight.
True. Very true. Very true. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Shakir, this was a phenomenal conversation.
Thank you, Ashish.
And thank you for allowing us to deep dive into, your crazy story.
Thank you for asking the right questions and, bringing it out of me. I think it's been really long that I've opened up like this and spoken about.
No, but this is really heartening. And I'll tell you, I think one big takeaway for anybody who watches this, at least for me, is that, how life of entrepreneurs from outside looks so cool, straight line, always sorted.
Yes.
Smiling, chilling, and how, what can be happening on the other side.
Yes.
Anybody who watches this, who will look back and say, कि यार 2016-17 में तो हम बैठ के एम्पायर के बारे बात कर रहे थे कि इनका सही है यार.
Bilkul.
It should be gut wrenching for them that, oh shit, this was happening on the other side of the. Yes. So thank you for opening up. I think leaders like you, it's very important for an entire generation to get inspired correctly.
Yes.
Success inspires everyone, but that's not inspiration. That's just, at best, infatuation.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Inspiration.
The right word you used. Yes.
Inspiration comes from leaders like you who can actually show both sides of the table and still maintain the hope that no matter which side you are,
because I was always inspired to be a leader, and that is why you can also inspire other people. Because they say, you need to aspire to be inspired. You need to inspire to be aspired.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you very much.